Good afternoon, this is Media Center Ukraine Odesa, and we continue for today with the next speaker. This is Dmytro Pletenchuk, spokesman of the Ukrainian Navy. Thank you very much for joining us today. Let's discuss the latest attacks on the Odesa region. Are they related to Russia's blackmail with regard to the grain corridor? Good afternoon. By the way, recently, one of the Russia's representative during Al Jazeera's broadcast boasted how they destroyed grain infrastructure facilities. And after the grain deal is over, the same person said that Russia would never attack the port infrastructure because this is not about Russia. And this is a good example of how quickly Russians can change their opinion. So first, they said that they would never attack port infrastructure facilities, and now they are boasting with the destroyal of port infrastructure facilities. So this is the part of their strategy. And this is more of an economical strategy because Russia is the main supplier of grains, cereals in the world, and they believe that Ukraine is one of the biggest competitors to them because Ukraine is among top producers of grain in the world. So Russia tries to achieve several objectives. They want to remove us from the market, and the second objective is their blackmail, terrorism, and they again try to use famine as a tool to have an impact on the world geopolicy. There are a lot of elements, and it seems that they try to trade it for lifting sanctions. So they offer a kind of a grain deal in exchange of lifted sanctions. These are all parts of the same puzzle, which is called Russia's geopolicy. But despite this blackmail, despite these attacks, civil vessels continue leaving the ports of the Odesa region. And we have the updated information. 7 vessels have already left ports through the new corridor, and there were 2 calls, and 7 vessels left ports. They were blocked in our ports since the start of the full-scale invasion. So we, on our side, do everything possible to ensure safe passage of these vessels through our territorial waters. Then they go to Bulgaria, Romania, Turkey through Bosphorus Strait, and then they get to the territorial water area, to the NATO allies, and they do not dare to attack vessels in this area. Today, we have had in our media center Alexander Kovalenko, the military expert, and he told us that Russia attacks Ukraine through the airspace of Romania. I don't have information, but I can say that aviation and the aircraft and missiles are the main tools that they have here. They do not dare to put their ships in this area because they understand that we can destroy it. So they keep them as far as possible behind Crimea, closer to their Novorossiysk base. But they use missiles, Shaheds, and aircraft. So we need to deal with this. And here we hope for new types of weapons, as an example, F-16 jets. And also we hope for the modern air defense systems. This is no secret, and our president constantly says that we need to improve and strengthen air defense system here in the Odesa region, and there are opinions that the defense system in Kyiv is one of the best in Europe. Yes, we can see the statistics. Some of the missiles are ultrasonic, like Kinzhal, Iskander, and Onyx missiles that they have. But actually, this is a bit different story because they are launched by bastions. These are mobile platforms that they keep in Crimea, and they use there because actually Onyx is an anti-ship cruise missile. And it has its DNA to respond to big metallic object. They cannot do anything about that. So we saw already how these cruise missiles hit the ground. It explodes as S-300, but they are more expensive. And the fact that they try to use also these missiles, Onyx cruise missiles, proves that they have lack of means now. The explosions in Crimea, are they unexpected for the Russian Federation? Everything is a surprise for them because they won during the first 2 weeks, and especially they got victory at sea. That's why everything that has been happening after that is a surprise to them, because they have never expected that we would so strongly oppress them. Military experts say that today, thanks to drones, the Russians could leave the Black Sea. And of course, our main objective is to clear up our water area from the presence of the Black Sea fleet, because we can guarantee safety and security in the Black Sea area by removing this irritator, which is the Black Sea fleet. And we will continue our work in this direction. But of course, we need to plan everything properly. We need to have all the means, and we need time. Romania has recently seen short-term surprise exercises. Were they effective? Yes, sure, because these were anti-mine training in the framework of these years' sea breeze drills. And the main objective of that intervention was to train how to deal with mines in the international environment, and we were successful with that. Our drivers were able to train, as well as those teams who find such explosive devices using anti-mine drones. We trained cooperation of these teams and also cooperation of our teams with the international teams. And we were successful, and we believe that we achieved the main objectives of these exercises. We exchanged our experience and we developed our capacity. So when it is planned to have the next exercises, we cannot disclose this information at the moment, but as soon as everything is planned, we will inform people accordingly, but I think that we will not have them this year. Everyone is expecting for ATACMS missiles from the United States. How can they change the balance of forces? As every long-range weapon, precise weapon, it will help us to better plan our combat activity for the progress. So we can make use of all equipment, of all means, especially if this means allow us to destroy logistics of our enemy, making life for the enemy more complicated at the front line. So attacks will allow us to decrease our losses at the contact line. We can see new or maybe not new tactics of Russians when they launch missiles from one point, they go around Ukraine, and then they get to the territory of Ukraine, to Odesa, through the northern part of Ukraine. How could you explain these tactics? This is difficult to say because the cruise missile can be controlled on its way. So they perhaps can try to test our air defense system, or if they have some information, they try to bypass the air defense system through the points which they expect are safe for the missiles. And recently, we can see that they mainly use kamikaze drones. Does it mean that they don't have enough missiles, or do they try to accumulate them? And you can see that they don't use calibers as frequently as they used to. So they try to accumulate them for massive wave attacks. This is what they are used to. So these we can see that they don't use the stockpiled missiles, but they use newly produced missiles from conveyors. Perhaps you have some information about Russia's production capacity when it comes to missile. I can say that not as many as they would like to produce, and we could expect the decrease in their production because a lot of parts, there are around 30 to 50 details, are from other countries. If they can't avoid sanctions, they can even increase their production because they invest a lot in this. But they have been facing the problem of getting parts for the missiles. They should substitute them with their analogs, and they are not that reliable. And we can see the situation with their ships. They had a big series of ships, and first they used German engines, then they were substituted by Chinese engines, and now they want to finalize the construction of this series using Russian engines. And you can expect a significant decrease in quality and of this final product because from technological point of view, Russia is badly developed. Do you have information about the ships that they have and how many missile carriers they have? They mainly use missile carrier sea platforms to launch calibers. This is up to 11 units, including submarines. Usually in the water area, they have several ships, usually 3 and now 3. So they get to this area and then leave, but they are not involved in combat activity because they don't have long-range weapon, and they cannot approach our coastline to use guns, for example. That's why only missile carriers are involved in combat activity. Other ships are now some hidden somewhere in harbors and or behind some other places or constructions. Do they dare to go to the open sea? Yes, and they can do this. For example, they already did that. They went not that far from Sevastopol to show the power of their weapons. But of course, they mainly go to the open sea because of the security issues. And this is according to the military charter. But now they just go out and then return. This also includes a missile carrier. So this Balaklava, it's Sevastopol, Novorossiysk. And we need to understand that the main Black Sea Fleet base in Sevastopol. They upload calibers there. They don't know how to do this in Novorossiysk. That's why they need to return to Sevastopol all the time. Thank you very much for joining Media Center Ukraine Odessa. That was Dmytro Pletenchuk, spokesperson of the Naval Forces of Ukraine.